back to another episode of Tampa City Council Watch. My name is Megan, she, her, with Tampa Bay Activist Network.
And I'm Tori, pronouns she, her, hers, with the Black Collective Movement of Tampa. If this is your first time joining us, welcome! We will be keeping you up to date with City Council meetings, significant events, and movements in the Tampa Bay and Greater Hillsborough County area.
Subscribe and click on that notification bell so you don't miss a video, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter so that you can stay ahead on what's going on in your city.
To kick off Black History Month, the Tampa City Council held an absolute mess of a meeting on February 4th.
Wait, isn't February 4th Rosa Parks' birthday?
Yes.
Which is dramatically ironic considering how the council members barely 10 minutes into the meeting expressed almost no intention to actually listen to the public's protests and objections.
Right. After they had taken roll call, Maniscalco expressed, with much disdain of course, that there was a high number of public comment on the agenda.
We have hours and hours and hours of public comment today.
This might be a wild thought, but it's almost as if people have grievances that they would like to express at the city council meeting.
Right, but as soon as Maniscalco brings this up, Councilman Dingfelder speaks up, and he requests that they limit public comments to 2 minutes each. He even says that he thinks that the public is only to be allotted 30 minutes.
Think isn't good enough here. You don't get to restrict public comments from your constituents and stakeholders based off of what you think. And honestly, if there is any procedure like that, they need to abandon it. Our voices will be heard.
To make it worse, Dingfelder actually admits that most of the public comments are listed under one specific line item. He then urges the council to vote on that item anyway.
If we voted on in advance, then it would be a moot issue, and maybe many of them would just, not even need to speak to us.
The meeting has just started, and Dingfelder is already trying to cut it short as if it's a meeting about what type of water fountain will be installed in the break room. His job is being a public servant. It's literally his job to listen to what the people have to say and make decisions based on that, not to rush through the vote just so the meeting can end early.
It makes me wonder, these meetings are every 2 weeks and seem to be the main event in City Council's job duties. What other job would allow you to try to get away without doing the main responsibility in your job description?
Apparently, this one. But Shelby, one of the city's attorneys, did bring some order to the meeting by pointing out to the council that according to Florida statute, if they are to take final action, they are required by law to give public comment before they vote.
Now let's get to some public comment. Remember, our city council works for us. This is literally what they're paid for.
There was a memorandum sent out by Councilman Joseph Citro's office stating his intent to withdraw his support for the Ready for 100 by 2030 renewable energy resolution.
Hold on. So, Councilmember Citro withdrew from the Ready for 100 plan?
Houston, we have a problem.
That's wild. Last city council meeting, he was the people's champion for supporting climate change reduction efforts. But now he's walked that back? I mean, what's going on?
Wow. Disappointing once again, but not shocking. Not doing the work his constituents need him to do is totally Citro's brand, though. That's why I have to say again, Citro gotta go.
Bye, Felicia.
In the past week, this council has been assaulted with messages from people who also believe the unbelievable, asking you not to pass a resolution on climate because it will mean they can't fill up their tank with gas. A state senator claims that no one would be able to get gas in Tampa while evacuating Florida during a hurricane because there wouldn't be any gas stations left open here, thanks to the action of Tampa City Council. You know these claims are absurd, yet these fantastic notions are now driving legislation in Tallahassee that would take away all authority in this and every other Florida city to take any action related to energy.
Pretty scary what special interest lobby groups are putting in the heads of our fellow Tampa residents. As I mentioned in the last episode, climate change impacts Black, Indigenous, and people of color at alarming rates. We're not surprised that the state of Florida is ready to pass more laws to destroy us for the purpose of profit for big corporations. Who's behind all of this lobbying? Let's find out.
It's our old friends at the American Petroleum Institute who paid you a visit last week. The guys who a decade ago were so eager to drill for oil off Tampa Bay's beaches and put at risk our $7 billion tourism industry.
It seems the bigwig in the petroleum industry paid Citro a visit. That explains why he withdrew. I guess he does listen to some. What could it be about us that makes us less likely to be heard?
I don't know. I couldn't even begin to imagine what it could be. I'd hate to speculate that it's because we're Black or women, not rich, we're not shelling out tons of cash to politicians. That couldn't be it. Not here. But let's listen to a few more public comments.
I was recording a situation with TPD and the officer by the name of PJ Gray. He walked in front of my camera with so much authority, and I said, I'm just recording. He proceeded to say, I can play these same games you're playing. You want to play games? I can play games too. Then he asked me for my ID. By the time I said my ID is at home, he grabbed me and put me in handcuffs and put me in the back of a police car for an hour. I'm gonna be honest, if I was a white guy, it wouldn't have happened. Period. It wouldn't have happened. Officer PJ Gray, you violated my rights.
It always breaks my heart to hear that another Black Tampa resident was brutalized. You heard him say the name of that officer, PJ Gray. Let's make sure that our city knows that name, and let's make sure that Mayor Jane Castor knows that you do not approve of police brutality ever.
Joshua Walker is a Black man living in Tampa, and he so bravely spoke to this council about the traumatic incident he faced. We're going to play his public comment in full so you can hear what took place. To our Black viewers, this may be triggering. Your self-care is important, so please fast forward if you need to. White viewers, you may need to watch this part over and over until it sinks in.
I have the audio that I would like to play.
I can stay right here all day long with you.
Okay, I'm just...
All day long. Me too, buddy.
All right, I'm just...
We'll play your game. We'll play your game all day.
Sorry, give me the ID.
Him? Oh, good. Give me your ID.
I stay over here.
Give me your ID or I arrest you. How's that?
ID or I arrest you?
You want to give me your ID or you want to play a game?
This officer needs to be fired.
Such a shame. I mean, that was horrific to hear, but I really applaud Mr. Walker for being so brave to tell his story. Mr. Walker, if you watch this episode, I hope that you'll reach out to us at the People's Safety Coalition. Our email is peoplesafetycoalition@gmail.com.
The People's Safety Coalition will continue to fight against police brutality. By the way, Councilmember Goods, a retired cop, says internal affairs will do what they have to do. I think by now we all know they aren't going to do anything at all. If you're watching this and you're just as pissed off as I am, let every single one of your city council members and Mayor Jane Castor and Chief Dugan know. We can't stand for this. They need to fire PJ Gray, fire Chief Dugan, and Mayor Castor should resign, honestly. Give her a call and let her know about herself and her trash, racist-ass police department.
A few other folks came on the line to talk about the Tampa Police Department. Mind you, this meeting was February 4th, so it was right before the Super Bowl. Activists with the Tropical Communist Party had alerted the community that the police were amping up the harassment of the houseless prior to this event because of course they were. The public didn't take that sitting down. Remember, y'all, your silence is consent.
There are specific officers, like Officer Griffin, badge number 548, who specifically targeted some of our houseless friends downtown and gave them a violation for leaving their belongings outside in public property. Why are we giving people that are already unhoused during a pandemic a violation or a fee just because they store their things outside?
Hell yeah. The community told these clowns last year to refund the community, but they were hell-bent on giving all of our money to the police. And did you notice that Councilmember Vieira stepped away for his comment? I don't know about you, but I think our paid employees on City Council should pay attention to every public comment. This is when they are supposed to be clocked in, and it seems like they think they can just clock out.
For the February 4th Thursday morning meeting. Hopefully everyone's doing well. As you know, we have a Super Bowl coming up. I guess our team is in it. Woohoo. That's great. That'd be really great if Tampa Police Department was not amping up the harassment of our houseless neighbors. This city council had the opportunity to provide housing last year. The People's Safety Coalition did a survey and found a large majority of the Tampa residents we surveyed agreed that we should move at least $30 million out of TPD's budget and put it into programs, including housing.
That's 100% true. I mean, the People's Safety Coalition asked for just a simple $30 million to go into us, the community, and including the houseless community, who were always unheard. Oh look, Councilman Vieira is back. Looks like he's paying close attention to the public comments. No, wait, he's reading something.
I wish I could be that unbothered. Just go about my life not caring. But then again, I would get fired or removed from any positions I held.
It's certainly no surprise to us that despite everything City Council heard, at least those who bothered to listen, they still unanimously approved file number PS 21-66527, once again giving Tampa Police Department more money in the form of $165 $100,000 grant. All these grants for policing, but yet never any grants for housing. Housing first programs, which have been proven to reduce houselessness and the societal ills that come with it. They're so effective, in fact, that in 2019, Kimberly Burrows studied the question, can housing interventions reduce incarceration and recidivism?
As it turns out, the answer is a resounding yes. But who would have guessed, right? Actually solving the problem at its root, instead of using police force, doesn't seem to be on the agenda. Burrows found that decriminalizing houselessness, such as not citing folks for loitering or trespassing, mixed with quality housing, has a major positive impact on society as a whole. According to Burrows' study, when a Housing First program was created in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the city saw a drop in municipal level ordinance violations by 82%. 82%!
Housing First programs do work. According to Implementing Housing First with Families and Young Adults by Celeste Collins and colleagues, also in 2019, the successful implementation has shown that 79% of the families and young adults in a Housing First pilot program avoided needing transitional shelter again. The participants saw less exposure to the child welfare department and a decrease in case management overall.
According to Sarah Rankin's Punishing Homelessness, yet again from 2019, Black Americans, only 13% of the population, represent 40% of the houseless population, whereas Latin folks represent 16.9%. In total, 68% of the nation's houseless population are people of color. Rankin refers to the United States prison system as the nation's largest homeless shelter, due to the fact that houselessness in and of itself is a major risk factor in incarceration.
We should also mention that the LGBTQ community is overrepresented in houselessness as well, due to systemic heterosexism and cissexism plaguing the communities. This trajectory is even worse when they're a LGBTQ individual of color and or disabled. Black transgender women and gender non-conforming people are currently fighting for their lives across the globe, and gay men of all backgrounds represent 17% of all hate crimes in 2019, despite only being less than 4% of the country's population. We say this to say, well, anyone can be houseless and it's always tragic no matter who. The fact is the most vulnerable communities are, once again, the most at risk. When you fight for Black lives, you fight for everyone.
Fannie Lou Hamer said it best in her 1971 speech urging white women to support Black women, a struggle as old as time. Hamer said, "Nobody is free until everybody's free." We hope this parting remark moves you to action. If you feel outrage, good, but channel it into something healthy. Call and email your city council members, not just once, but every week. Engage with them at public events, even if, especially if it makes you feel uncomfortable.
And be sure to call Mayor Jane Castor regularly as well. She runs this city and should run a city for all of us, not some of us. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share our episodes across all platforms. The scariest thing to our political leaders is informed residents. So stay tuned for the Frontline Activist message.
Hey everyone again, it's me D'Angelo, pronouns he, him. I'm one of the co-founders of the Restorative Justice Coalition and a founding member of the People Safety Coalition. So I'm here to do a special solo edition of the Frontline Activist message. You know, I think one of the most disturbing things that we saw in our city council meeting this past week was just the lack of listening from our city council members. I would imagine their primary job function, as the host said, would be to listen to the public. I mean, what else do they have that's more important? Yeah, we saw Councilmember Vieira get up and leave and then come back and just read something instead of listening to active public comments that were happening. We saw Councilmember Citro get up and leave and also come back. There should be nothing that they're doing that is more important than listening to the public when we speak. We pay their salaries for a reason, yet they continue to do so. Especially, it's important to note that the topic that was going on when they chose to ignore it was about the Tampa Police Department and the grievances that many people have. It's not some small minority, as Mayor Jane Castor would like you to believe. These are regular, everyday people, not just organizations such as ours. This was the meeting right before the Super Bowl, and people were not happy that our city council wanted to go ahead and harass the houseless community, arrest them, push them out, while we spend all this money supporting this super spreader event at the Super Bowl. Despite that, City Council didn't bother to listen, literally didn't listen at some points, and continued to harass people and continue to use punitive policing when that doesn't work. You heard Tori and Megan say, Housing First programs work. This has been researched. If it can happen in Milwaukee, it can happen in Tampa. but our city council needs to want it. They'll say things like there's no political will. That makes no sense when you listen to the over 200 comments that happened at the budget meeting last September, where everybody was in line with housing being a priority, not policing, healthcare being a priority, not policing, jobs being a priority, not policing. We have Councilmember Vieira's apprentice program, that's great, it just doesn't go far enough. We need to do more. We need to do a lot more. And now we have the PBA, the police union, trying to usurp the ACLU's efforts to make that bogus citizen review board more accountable. They're not even going to be accountable enough with what the ACLU wants due to the Law Enforcement Bill of Rights at the state level, which needs to be repealed, call your local reps. But because of our marital situation being a former police officer and our city council's spinelessness, the PBA continues to have a lot of power, and we need to make sure that they do not usurp public accountability. As the host said, call Mayor Jane Castor and call each city council member you have each week. Email them, go to city council when you can, and catch them at public events, and let them know that you dissent to the way they're choosing to spend our money.